We resume our live coverage from the National Assembly and from Parliament now. Ziyanda Ngcobo, our senior political reporter, she is on the steps, in fact, in the building itself. Ziyanda, good afternoon to you. In fact, the President himself has just arrived within the Tynehase precinct.
Absolutely, Stephen. The President is in the precinct, and not too long ago he walked into the National Assembly behind me. The doors were open a short while ago, where I'm told he walked in to go check where the auto queues are, and this is just a run-of-the-mill kind of preparation for the President ahead of the State of the Nation address. So certainly we are edging closer and closer to that much-anticipated State of the Nation address. But of course then, Stephen, some of the key issues that South Africans would like to hear about is the parliamentary oversight then that we've heard damning allegations about at the State Capture Commission of Inquiry. And to join me to talk more about this is the Chair of Chairs, Mr. Cedrick Florick. Thank you so much for your time. Let's start off then with the fact that, one has to emphasize that this is the cheapest SONA yet. And I suppose many are saying, why can't we always keep it like this? Usually at this time, we'd be standing by the red carpet, readying ourselves to usher all of the MPs in, but simple is better, isn't it?
Well, good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me. It is the cheapest SONA, but that is due to the restrictions that we have under level 3 COVID-19. And because of that reason, there's a number of stakeholders from society that usually gets invited to the State of the Nation address, which is a joint sitting of the two houses, for the President to deliver the address. So under the restrictions, the presiding officers have decided that only 50 people will be inside the joint sitting. And because of that reason, it had a knock-on effect on the other things that usually accompany a State of a Nation address. We must also be very aware, of course, in the situation that we find ourselves in the country. The COVID pandemic is still real. People are waiting in anticipation to hear from the President the latest update in terms of the vaccine and the rollout thereof. So it is not under usual circumstances that we are meeting, and we need also to take that into account when we put everything together.
Absolutely. And another thing that then, Mr. Florick, is the damning allegations that we've heard at the State Capture Commission. One of them, which has been a discussion really, is the fact that under two administrations that parliamentary oversight was found to be lacking. You're the Chair of Chairs, and what I want to know from you is the fact that there are some chairpersons of committees who are facing allegations and they have matters before the courts, and yet they're supposed to be the ones overseeing the key portfolios in this very parliament. Not the greatest messaging that you're sending out there.
Well, the Zondo Commission is continuing its work. It has not concluded its work yet. I think there's still a number of witnesses that will be called to also testify. I'm still under oath, having been sworn in, and I must go and complete my evidence that I'm giving to the Commission, so I would not like to dwell on some of those issues that are there. Use the appropriate forum to do so. However, to say that oversight is a critical feature and it consists of different parts. One of it is direct oversight over the executive, and in the testimony that I've delivered, I've mentioned some of the weaknesses in the process, and I'm quite sure that it will be attended to once the Commission has concluded their work and delivered their final report. However, at the moment, we are still busy rolling out the oversight and accountability model of Parliament. It's a phased implementation that is taking place, and we are there to learn. We must remember there was nothing before, and we are the ones who must do the necessary, ensure that we put the proper structures and mechanisms in place to ensure that our people get a better life.
As the Chair of Chairs, you've been in this position for a few years now, and you'd be able to speak to this. Do you agree then with the sentiments expressed by the former Scopa Chair, Themba Godi, that the looting was taking place as if by MPs as if it was their democratic right? Is that your assessment? Is that a fair assessment of the situation and what actually happens here in Parliament?
Well, that is certainly the view of the former Chairperson of Scopa. I hold a different view. Because if you refer to the looting by MPs on what has been taking place, I'm not sure if he said that. However, the role of MPs is not to get involved in contractual matters of tenders and so forth. It's to exercise oversight over the executive in the execution of their responsibility. And yes, in that process, there could have been certain lapses that has taken place. And the members who are in front of the Commission are currently testifying and giving evidence to that effect that is there.
All right, well, there you have it, Stephen. That's Cedrick Florick. He is the chair of chairpersons here in Parliament. And really, the key question is that there are some chairpersons of portfolio committees in this very Parliament who have matters before the court. One of them being, for an example, Bongani Bongo. He's the chairperson of the Home Affairs Committee, if my memory serves me well, at this particular point in time. And this is exactly what has been spoken about then. To say that this particular Parliament, there are some lapses, as Mr. Florick has mentioned.
Ziyanda and Ngcobo, thanks very much indeed. Really do appreciate it. More live coverage from Parliament as we continue ahead of that address in a few hours' time.